Hi, everyone.
Battery 80%.
Hello.
Connected to Josh XPS.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Amy. Am I pronouncing it right? So I think for the meeting recordings, we will have to allow ourselves. Like, I'm wondering, like, who's recording the videos and how we can upload the videos to the YouTube.
Sure. So you all have directions from Aloy for how to be able to upload these in here, and he has access. We can take this one offline, but I have caught you all up from the last kind of like couple of months-ish. So all of that is over in your YouTube account, but I'm in touch with Aloy for how to be able to like get that up and running.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah, no worries.
Hello. I just missed the lawyer part, obviously.
No. It was a very short conversation about like the what's going on with YouTube, and the answer is like you all got creds, and we'll work with being able to make sure that you know how to be able to upload things.
Yes, thanks a lot for your help, Amy. So I still need to share the email addresses. Now I figured everything out, so that was helpful.
Perfect.
I don't know how that email got lost, honestly, but I really couldn't recall ever getting this email, but might have just...
All good. Part of that is basically like if you run into trouble, just drop something in service desk, and we'll take care of you.
Yeah, and you really did. So now I think we're good. So this one we can now then take care for recording. All right, let's give people again 2 more minutes to join here. Okay, since we are almost 5 minutes in and we have a pretty packed schedule today, I'd recommend we get started here. Posting just a link to the notes, as always, into the chat. so that we can jump right into the agenda. Okay, we have first point is the CNCF incubation approach. Jennifer, do you want to kick us off here?
All right. Yeah. So Johannes is it? Yeah, he's going to give us presentation for the captain proposal for incubation. So I'll give the voice to him.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Let me just share.
Jürgen, sorry.
No worries.
Sorry about this. I was reading at the same time.
No worries. Let me share and kick this off here. So just present, and hopefully you can see full screen here. I'll just make this a little bit smaller, the Zoom controls. So if there are any questions during the presentation, I might not see the chat, but feel free to just interrupt, or we can do the Q&A at the end. So thanks for giving us here the chance to present Captain. My name is Jürgen. I'm one of the Captain maintainers, and I want to present Captain, what it is, briefly what it is, and then mostly talking about how Captain is adopted since its sandbox status, and also how the community is collaborating to Captain, contributing to Captain, what are the community efforts around Captain, how the project has been, like the major achievements of Captain since its sandbox status, and also short look on the roadmap, what's coming next for Captain. So I think we agreed I can take about like 15-20 minutes for the presentation, and I try to keep it short, especially the first part if you already know what Captain is. But just a very brief introduction, why we felt the urge to build Captain, and like what problems does it actually solve. And I want to start here with actually an adoption story already, because the company ERT, the problem they needed to solve is that they have a lot of automation code in their pipelines, and spanning this across a lot of different projects, a lot of different pipelines actually did not really scale well for them. So actually they really have the problem that they ended up with thousands of lines of automation code. And the problem with all this automation code is that kind of each organization has to solve this problem. They have to build automation code, and also all these tool integrations they have kind of brought their automation pipelines to kind of to explode. So in Captain, what we did is we thought of this kind of a pipeline as a couple of different building blocks, and we remove the hard dependencies of what has to be done with who is actually doing this. So instead of having everything in one, let's say, pipeline, we said, okay, let's build some automation sequences. And with this, we can separate then the process from the actual tooling. And from the technical perspective, to allow this, we introduced eventing. So everything is based on well-defined cloud events. And with this, we are able to send these cloud events, or to have tool integrations to emit these cloud events and act upon these cloud events. And so with this, we established this the separation of the process definition and then the actual tool definition. And having a look at a concrete example in Captain, we can see on this part here in the YAML that we all love, we can see a shipyard, which is the process definition of Captain, and in the uniform definition, we can see I just put a couple of examples here, like which tools might be responsible for the deployment. It could be Helm, it could be Argo, it could be Tecton. But whenever we need to change the process, we don't necessarily have to change the tooling, and vice versa. So we can change tooling without changing the process. There is no tight or no this kind of coupling where you have code in your pipeline. This is just for one tool, and whenever you want to update it, you have to touch all of your pipelines. So with this, we enabled actually the company ERT to remove the thousands of lines of pipeline code to just a very small set of automation code. The other big part of Captain are built-in quality gate evaluations. So one part here that I just skipped is the evaluation part. So an integrated part of Captain is whenever you want to move a new artifact from one environment to the other, like from dev to staging or eventually to production, you can make use of a Captain quality gate, which is, in a nutshell, which is a YAML definition in terms of a quality definition. We are using here SLOs, or service level objectives. And again, here we have a strict separation of the tooling and what the quality gate should actually evaluate. So the tooling, in this case, a couple of Prometheus queries, they go into a different concept or a different file than the actual quality evaluation. And then once triggered, either in the an automation sequence or via the API, via the CLI, then Captain will reach out to different data providers that are connected to Captain, query the data that is defined in the service level objective file, do the evaluation and come up with a total score. And then this can be used for automated promotion to the next stage or just for investigation to decide should this new build actually make it to production or not. So with this concept and with this idea of Captain, what we achieved is for some of our adopters to drastically reduce their automation code and also kind of standardize their automation code, because we now have service level objectives, we have service level indicators, we have a well-defined format how they can define their quality gate evaluations. And we're bringing a lot of different tools in their environments together. We are orchestrating those tools. So we are orchestrating when to start the tests, when the tests are finished. We are orchestrating the quality gate evaluation for the time frame for the tests when they were run. We can orchestrate multiple different tests to run at the same time or one after the other. So all this orchestration can be done with Captain, and it's not meant to replace all the tooling. It's actually meant to orchestrate the tooling that is already available and already present in the organizations. And we do have already quite some adopters in Captain, which we're really proud of. And for today, I just picked 3 stories that I want to talk about a little bit more detail, not too detailed. I'm happy to answer more questions. But I want to start with one company. We also see this here on the slide. It's Raiffeisen Software. The very interesting part here is it's actually it's located here in Austria, but it's operating in Europe. And the reason is also this slide is part of the slide is in German because we took this. We got permission from them to use it, and we directly took this. The important part is that at Raiffeisen Software, they are creating the software for a mobile banking application. And with Captain, they are evaluating each release of the software, and basically the Captain quality gate decides if this new build will be put into production. That means it will be adopted by 9 local banks or subsidiaries of the bank and distributed to all of the customers. If a Captain quality gate fails, if a Captain quality gate is not green, then the whole release is blocked, and they will investigate what is the reason, which metric is not, or which SLO is not satisfied, and they will, Captain is basically the decision maker if a release will make it into production or not. Another adoption story I want to share is from Vitality Group. They are using Captain internally for their multi-tenant environment. And what they needed to ensure is that how the different configurations they have between their shared services, so some of the services they run, they are shared between multiple tenants, and they needed to figure out how this configuration is actually impacting their services, and to figure out, we see this here on the right-hand side, which SLOs are actually failing. It's not always the same SLO that is failing, but for them it was very important to identify which SLOs are failing for different kinds of configuration for the different services. So the total score indicates if there is any issue, but then in the kind of detail screen here, they can identify what was the problematic one, and they can go back and directly fix this issue. And for the third story I want to share here with you is it's a little bit of different story. It's from Kitopi, a company that offers kitchen as a service. And they needed to evaluate the resiliency of their microservice applications. And for that, they are using a combination of load tests and chaos tests with Captain quality gates on top. And also they are aiming for orchestrating the whole process with Captain. But for evaluating the impact of the chaos on the applications, they define 3 different stages. A no chaos stage that kind of gives the baseline, a light chaos stage that needs to be passed and needs to be successfully evaluated by the Captain quality gate, and a heavy chaos stage where they introduce a lot of chaos, they're ripping down their environment, and they expect the SLOs to fail here. That's kind of the counter example or counter measurement, that they also validate their SLOs are not too relaxed. So the light chaos, their application has to survive this. And for heavy chaos, they expect it to fail. And they built all 3 evaluations with Captain. They're running this already in the nightly builds. And last time they gave the presentation in one of our user groups, I think they had around already hundreds, I think around 700 evaluations with Captain on the chaos experiments and the load tests. So yeah, we just talked about a couple of our adopters, but it's not only the adopters that we're proud of and that we saw really increasing since our sandbox status, but it's also the integration and collaboration with the whole CNCF and the projects in the CNCF. So first of all, we are heavily making use of cloud events. That's the whole eventing definition of Captain is based on cloud events. We have built integrations with Litmus Chaos, actually the one that is already used also at Kitopi. We've done, this integration was also presented at KubeCon in, I think around the March timeframe, together with Kartik from Litmus Chaos. He's a maintainer of Litmus Chaos. We've built great integrations with Argo and Argo rollouts to validate each stage of a Canary release if the percentage should increase for the Canary release, also using here Captain quality gates. We are integrating with Artifact Hub. We already have first integration on the staging environment of Artifact Hub. We have already Captain as its whole on the Artifact Hub, but we're working here also to bring all of our integrations, and I will talk about integration just in a second, but to bring all of our integrations from the Captain ecosystem, to bring this also to the Artifact Hub, to make it more visible and also more available to the whole CNCF community. We're integrating and working here also with Tecton. We just presented this yesterday in one of our Captain community meetings, how Tecton can be used for building or even deployment, and Captain can be used for the whole orchestration for a full delivery sequence. We're integrating actively currently with Crossplane for a use case to define temporary environments for tests. We're making use of Helm for deployment. So it's a lot of different CNCF projects that are in the, let's say, Captain ecosystem that we're either collaborating with or having integrations with or directly use in the Captain project. And a lot of those integrations, they are actively contributed by the community. That's a kind of specific part of Captain that makes it so interesting, is that Captain as a control plane allows others to integrate, and there is no change needed to the Captain core, but a Captain integration or a Captain service, as we call it, can just be added by the community to interact with Captain. And there have been already a lot of different contributions. starting from artillery, where the maintainers contributed this locust. We worked actively with the Prometheus community, also with one of their co-founders, to improve our Prometheus integration. One chart and the Gimlet project, Crossplane, I just mentioned this, Slack integrations, gyro integrations. So we have a lot of different integrations that have been contributed by the community and are actively developed and maintained by the community of Captain and the CNCF. The progress that Captain made since its sandbox status, I want to focus here on two parts. One's the feature set of the Captain Core project, and then on the community efforts. So there have been a couple of, actually there have been a lot of new features. I'm just mentioning here a couple of them, and in the interest of time, I think I'm already 10 minutes into the presentation. I just maybe want to highlight 2 or 3 of them. First of all, maybe the multi-cluster support, which was actively demanded by the community, allows to install the Captain control plane and the Captain execution plane on completely different clusters, different regions, also different cloud providers. Sorry? Okay. Feel free to interrupt. I think there was something going on. If not, I would just continue. That allows to install the execution plane and control plane on different clusters. This also allows to drastically reduce the resource consumption of Captain, since we made an explicit split between the execution plane and control plane, and now the default installation of Captain has been reduced by I think around 50% of resource consumption. And probably this one is also really interesting, the closed loop remediation. And instead of having a, let's say, fire and forget mechanism for remediation actions in automation sequences, Captain now treats this as a closed loop remediation. That means that after one remediation action is executed, Captain will make sure to also do an evaluation if this remediation action actually did the trick and resolved the specific issue. If not, another remediation action can be executed, and if it's successfully remediated, the loop will be closed. Otherwise, it can be escalated by again utilizing integrations such as Slack or Jira to inform or modify the actual stakeholders. Talking about the community and the progress we've made here, it's really great to see that most statistics have increased by a factor of at least 2x, which is I think pretty impressive. And we talk about, like here, I think that's like for around now 1 year time frame since we made it to the CNCF sandbox. So the GitHub stars, we could greatly improve this and increase this. Feel free also to star us if you think Captain is an interesting project. Twitter followers, our YouTube subscribers, since we put all of our videos that we do also with other projects, such as the one we did yesterday with our friends from the CDF and the Tecton community, or integrations with Litmus Chaos. We put all of our resources on a YouTube channel, and this is getting more and more interest. Also, contributors to the project increased by more than doubling, which is really great. So we see more and more people also actively contributing to the project, not only in terms of contributions, but also in terms of contributions to the Captain core, and not only in terms of integrations. So the contributors here are only for the Captain core project. There are way more that are also contributed to the Captain ecosystem, to all those different contributions and integrations. But as said, it's not necessarily needed to for a maintainer of an integration to also submit or to also contribute to the Captain core. So it's really great to see also a lot of new contributors on the Captain core project. And we also have a lot of new users in Slack. Here I'm mostly mentioning the weekly active users, and there's a lot of interesting discussions going on on the Slack, not only in terms of kind of a help channel, but also in terms of how to write integrations to Captain, how to use Captain, and also exchange between the Captain community around best practices and other integrations. Yes, just seeing the chat. Yes, everything's public. Also, the link to the document is in the meeting document. So feel free to also use this presentation or just leave a comment in this presentation. Being part of the CNCF also enabled us to enable others. We already have 3 mentees that graduated from mentorship projects that have been governed and organized by the CNCF. So congrats again to our 3 mentees, Ankit, Raj, and Hemant. They did an amazing job, helped us to improve the project in various ways. It's always great to see new contributors having a fresh look at the project and also helping us improving the project, and we help them. And it's not only me that mentored the mentees, it was the whole Captain team. So also thanks to the whole Captain team here helping to enable others, and that really helped also being part of this of the whole CNCF movement and ecosystem. Yeah, and then there has been, probably you've heard about Captain before, since we had a lot of different engagements. We have been invited to meetups to talk about Captain. I know Alois is on the call. He has done a Kubernetes podcast on the Kubernetes podcast from Google. Anna from Gremlin talked about Captain. So there have been a lot of speaking activities, community activities around Captain, which we're really proud of. And if you want to learn more, if you want to find out also around resources, if you want to probably talk about Captain, I put also here a link to the resources where you can then find all the different topics. Before I'm closing here, I just want to highlight what's coming. Also, this is public. You will find the link to the roadmap here. You will also find it on our website, captain.sh, but I'm linking here directly to GitHub, which is our living roadmap. There are a lot of things to come. Maybe in the interest of time, I'm just highlighting one. We are working together with the CDF, the sister foundation of the CNCF, to define, let's say, industry standard for eventing, since Captain has already defined a set of different different cloud events that define all the different tasks and sequences in the life cycle of an application, such as delivery or operation. And we're working here also with the CDF to define this and expand it also in the CI part. So this is actively going on, and we are really looking forward to define this and then also having support for this in Captain. There are more parts here. I'm happy to talk about all of them in more detail, but in the interest of time, I'll probably just, for now, I'll just redirect you to this link here. We're happy to hear your feedback on our incubation proposal. I provided here the link. It's the pull request 670. It's also linked the due diligence document. If you have any questions, any comments on this, it's currently also a living document. Feel free to add your comments there. Also directly tag me there, or you will also find me in the CNCF Slack or on the Captain Slack. I provided all the links here. Hopefully I have not forgotten any link of the Captain project. So feel free to reach out, have a look at all the resources we have. And actually I want to close here with thanking the whole community. And actually the last words should not be my words, but words from the community, what others are saying about the project. I'm already opening up for questions while I leave this here. As said, I will also share the slides. They're already in the meeting document. I will put them in the chat right after I close the window here. But yeah, thanks for giving us the possibility to present Captain in this app delivery tag. And I'm happy to, if we have time for questions, I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Jürgen, for the presentation and all the resources. I have a question regarding the current state of like the API stability and also your experience with like end users, if there is any report of like upgrades that end users have to have in production or something.
So for the, if I understand, for the upgrades, we always have when we release new Captain versions, we always, with each Captain version, we bring an upgrade guide. So if I remember correctly, since the last at least 5 versions, even more, there was never a breaking change. So it was always a single line upgrade. It kind of takes 2 minutes for a Captain upgrade to bring one user to the latest version. For the API, we have already deprecated API endpoints. They are still, you can still use them. Same goes for the Captain CLI. These are also announced in the release notes of new Captain versions. When something gets deprecated, we still keep it for some releases in the in source code, so that we are not breaking something. But I think same with Kubernetes. Sometimes then there is the time when deprecated versions will not be supported anymore. Hopefully that answered the question, but
Does anyone have any more questions?
Yeah, quick
Josh?
question. Yeah, just a quick question. So as you were describing it, you kind of position Captain as a general purpose. You know, I could build, I can test, I can deploy, I can test deployments. Then the specific examples, they were all oriented around like quality checks and quality gates. And you even kind of mentioned like integrating with Tecton. Tecton does the build and deploy, and Captain does something else. So I'm just kind of wondering, is your main value proposition quality gates and quality checks, or is this a more general build and deploy tool?
So I mentioned in the beginning, Captain is not meant to replace the tool. So if you, for example, if you already have Tecton in place and you have all your, you might have quite a long Tecton pipeline that is doing all the different things, then for Captain, the job is to orchestrate. So you can then split it up into different smaller pipelines and reuse parts of the pipeline. So Captain will orchestrate, for example, Tecton, but not only Tecton, but for example, the demo that we did yesterday was building with Tecton. Once the build is finished, Captain knows what goes next. So there might be now a deployment. Then the Captain knows what goes next. It will be the test. And deployment can be done maybe again with Tecton or maybe with I don't know, Jenkins. And the test will be done with JMeter or Locust. And then the evaluation will be done with Captain itself. So a lot of the adoption stories, I focused on the quality gates. Since this is an integrated part of Captain, we can really see the Captain UI there. We can see the value that really the Captain brings to the quality part. The other part, the orchestration part, was part, for example, at Kitopi, they are working on doing this integration also with Captain, but we could not really see it. The interesting part was that they are, what they're using, what they want to bring together and how they evaluate this. But Captain itself will not do a build of an image. It will not do the deployment itself. For example, we can use other tools that do the deployment, but Captain itself is not the deployment tool. It's more the orchestration of the different tools that you already have.
Yeah, so you would, I guess the quality gates is the built-in functionality, which is part of Captain, but it does orchestration based on events, which none of these other things have. So that's like a quality that can bring everything together. Very cool. Thanks.
And maybe to finish up here now, speaking as part of the Captain team, also Captain actively decides which release or which version of a service to put into which stage automatically and when to roll back. So it would, for example, tell a GitOps tool that would actively rewrite GitOps repositories to migrate back to older versions, or move forward or create release plans there. It is usually something you don't have in your GitOps tools. That's when GitOps tools and deployment tools usually kick in.
So
Okay.
I have one. Yeah, sorry. Like I have one more comment. Like regarding the Captain, like I look through the slides, so I think like Captain is awesome. Like it provides like such automation framework. But one thing, since it's a framework, one thing it's missing is that it doesn't like the slides doesn't talk about how users can create a new plugin for Captain. Right? For example, like if I want to create a new task or something, like how can I translate those properties? How can I name the task and get the cloud events integrated? Like those things are sort of missing in the slides right now, and I haven't looked through the due diligence yet, but hopefully that will be included.
Yeah. In the slides, I focused on one specific, I only showed one shipyard, and parts of the shipyard, like we saw the deployment test with a couple of, let's say, opinionated tasks there. But this can be user-defined. This was one also of our kind of major new features that we shipped since Sandbox, that is now possible to also having user-defined tasks and just connecting your tools then to these defined tasks. So that's absolutely possible. I just mentioned it. I didn't mention it. You're right.
If you can also jump in for a second. Hi, I'm Johannes, PM of the Captain project. I think, Deng, you also asked for a plugin mechanism that allows me to write my service that acts upon a task. And therefore, we also provide a template that a user can use to customize and to write his or her own Captain service, which then can be plugged into the orchestration of Captain. Therefore, support is provided.
Sure. Like one thing I want to see is that because when we for it looks like that the Captain is very similar to like Argo workflow and Tecton, is that like uses cloud events to extend the automation thing, more pipelines on tasks into that. I want to see like how could this be simpler than the container based solutions on Tecton or Argo workflow, and this is not clear right now.
Yeah, I think Tecton is a very general purpose pipeline tool, so you can do a lot of things with Tecton. They give you all the flexibility. It's not very much opinionated in any way. And with Captain, we try to help you establish with an opinionated way, helping you to define automation sequences. And with this, we can then, with the standard uniform that Captain has, we can already kind of connect some tools to the different tasks that you have, like for deployment or for testing. We have kind of a default uniform that you can already use that will help you there. Other like Argo workflows, Tecton, you would have to build this then by yourself. You can do this, of course. But it's just a more opinionated way in the way that really focusing on this automation part and reducing the complexity of pipelines.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, I got it. Like, just like haven't seen because it's in the slides talk about there's many integrations being done, and by integration I just I thought that this is not like all done by the Captain team, probably by the community contributors, right? And as a contributor, how can I contribute a new integration into Captain? And this thing had better be clarified in the doc as well. Right.
You mean how to contribute to Captain, or to how to?
No, creating a new integration. Like for example, if I Captain doesn't integrate with Tecton right now, and I am from let's say I build a Tecton 2, and I want to integrate that into Captain. How can I do that? This kind of.
I can share the link here. We do have this on the Captain website. I did not have it on the slides, but in the Captain documentation, we have a dedicated section for integrations and how to write integrations. There are actually 3 different ways. I don't want to go into detail here, but depending on what you want to achieve, there are different ways for Captain integrations. There are like easy ones and like full implementations that you might want to, where you really write your own Go code and then attach this and then listen for the Captain Cloud events, or others where the whole listening for Captain Cloud events is everything is taken care of by a job executor from Captain, and you basically only do your logic. So there are different ways. I will share the link, and I will also put it in the slides. So I will just extend the slide deck that I shared with you.
Thank you, Eugen. I'm conscious of time because we have a second presentation today and we only have 20 minutes. So if you have any more questions, suggestions, please add to comments on the document or the PR on GitHub. So thank you again. And we shall move on to the next presentation by, I don't have the paper now here. Okay. Local host sandbox proposal presentation. Will Wang.
Thank you. Hope you can see my screen. Okay.
Yes, we can see it. It's not in presentation mode, so depending on how big screens are, people will see it.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Will Wang from Tencent Cloud, and I will be bringing you the local sandbox presentation. Here I will present from those 5 aspects. The first part is the development of application development in Kubernetes. As we know, with more and more microservices, everyone would like to use Docker to package into image to reduce complexity. But with more and more image, container orchestration become a problem. And the Kubernetes has almost become the de facto standard for containers orchestration and has been adopted by everyone. Kubernetes is merely oriented towards operation and maintains to provide capabilities such as HPA, fairly self-healthy, and at the same time, he also brings too difficult for developer under Kubernetes. One is very difficult to develop, and the other is very difficult to debug. In addition, the skill required to develop in cloud-native environment has become more, and the company are demanding more people, which also leads to rise recruitment cost and employment cost. Finally, in the CNCF landscape, the capability of existing development tools are still inadequate, and there is no standard development method. The second part is mainstream cloud-native development approach. There are currently 4 mainstream approaches to develop in cloud-native environment. The first is a purely manual approach, manually executing Docker command and modify the workload image version and wait for it to take effect. And the coding debugging cycle takes about 10 minutes at a time. The second is to automatic CI/CD to replace the manual operation. The CI/CD process may be in cloud or locally. This should be take most use mention. The coding debugging cycle takes about 5 minutes at a time. The third is the develop approach using a local Kubernetes environment, such as Minikube or Kind, and use telepresence, which can be a very good development experience if your application can be easily run locally. The fourth is to use a cloud-based Kubernetes environment and telepresence, which solve the problem of environment elasticity. The main reason why some team cannot use telepresence is that there is difference between the local runtime environment and the containers runtime environment, which cause the application may be difficult to run locally as source code. In addition, teleparenthesis has some limitation in usage, such as the inability to address cross-platform difference and the network limitation. Localhost adopt a new solution idea, develop directory in container. This fundamentally solve the problem of inconsistent development and runtime environment. With this approach, it is possible to use existing development environment, and localhost provide additional IDE plugin that require little Kubernetes foundation to work smoothly. Finally, localhost additionally provide a server side for unified manage of user, cluster, application, and development environment. This is optional. The third part is principle of implementation. When using localhost to develop an application, localhost merely does those things. Firstly, it replaces the container with development image. Secondly, it connects to the development container through the IDE plugin. And thirdly, the local coding takes effect in the container in real time. Let's take a Golang application as an example. After entering the container, we will find that the main process is running an application. If we replace the main process with the go run process, we can realize the coding take effect in real time. Okay, if we want to realize running the application as source code in container, there are still a few prerequisites. First, where does the source code come from? Second, how to provide an application runtime. Third, how to stop the container crash after replacing the main process. Localhost will implement their methods to meet the prerequisites. The first is synchronize the local source code to container. The second is replace the container image with development image. And the last is replace the main process with blocking process. After entering development mode, localhost will replace application container with development containers and add the sidecar to provide file synchronization. In addition to doing a series of operation to ensure that the development container meets the development work. The local source code is passed into sidecar, and the development container and the sidecar share the same volume. So to make the source code accessible and runnable in the development container. Let's back to the example at the beginning. After entering the development mode, we will find that the main process is replaced and there will be application source code inside the container, which can start and stop the process as source code inside the container at any time. At this time, the local coding will be synchronized to development container in real time. And you only need to restart the process inside the container to see the coding effect after coding locally. The first part is a 3-minute video introduction.
Building cloud-native applications can often be difficult. Setting up the right environments, using suitable libraries, and figuring out an easy way to deploy and debug your application is time-consuming. To help you solve these challenges, we built localhost. Localhost is a cloud-native development tool based on IDEs. It optimizes connect, deploy, develop, and debug process that makes cloud-native development easier and faster. Localhost supports a number of IDEs, including VS Code and JetBrains. This way, you can leverage the tools you already know. Let's dive deeper into how localhost optimizes connect, deploy, develop, and debug. First, connect. No-code helps you connect to Kubernetes cluster easily by using qconfig, and it also supports multi-clusters connections. No-code works with any Kubernetes cluster, whether it is local, Docker desktop, or Minikube, or any cloud-based clusters. No-code can connect by one click. It helps you to get rid of the pesky local environment configurations. Let's see how to deploy application. No-code provides an easy way to deploy application to any namespace. No-code supports to deploy application through manifest YAML, Helm, and Customize. Can quickly deploy the application to Kubernetes cluster. After deployed, you can start to develop. No-code supports to develop standard types of workloads. Select the corresponding workload and click hammer icon. No-code will start the dev mode. Let's see how dev mode works. Once enter dev mode, no-code will replace the remote container image with dev image. Use the dev image to start a new pod and replace the existing pod. Turn on pod forward in remote pod. So you can now easily access remote application in local. Start real-time file synchronization. Sync the local file to remote pod automatically. Automatically start terminal in a remote pod. This way, you can compile, run remotely through the IDE. When developing, no-code can automatically synchronize the code to the container every time you make a change. Developer can easily to use code startup process in dev container. No-code eliminate the submit, building, and pushing cycle. This can significantly speed up the feedback loops of development. So you see updates in under a second. You might discover issues in your application. No-code is here to help by providing the same debugging experience if using IDE, even when debugging in remote Kubernetes cluster. If you need to dive deeper, no-code also comes with a built-in log viewer to help you to monitor and debug issues with your Kubernetes right within your IDE. Now you know how no-code works to improve your experience, creating cloud-native application within your favorite IDE, and optimizing the connect, deploy, develop, and debug process. We hope this short introduction to no-code gives you all need to get started. No-code is the most productive way to build cloud-native applications, and you can give it a try by going to nocodhost.dev. Also, you can reach out to us via Slack or join our WeChat group.
Okay, the last part is open source. No-code is already open source on GitHub, and it is licensed under the Apache license. Based on what I just said about the current state of development, we think that the no-code donation will improve the community's economic system and provide a new development model for developers. That's all, thanks.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I think you are aware of, and we talked about this, that obviously for a sandbox submission, there is a form by the CNCF. In case you have any problems finding it, please feel free to reach out. Nevertheless, it's always good to learn about new projects and see them shared here. So just that you're aware from a process perspective, you need to submit the form that the TOC will then review. I think let's open it up for like maybe 1 or 2 minutes of questions, and then we should just briefly address the 2 other topics on the agenda for a short update.
Okay.
Any questions from anyone? Obviously, you can reach out to the team later on as well.
I guess so. In the container, the connected container, can you build containers too? It sounds like you can do basically pretty much anything you could do in a connected environment, that just the environment is connected. Can you build containers and push them since it's in a container?
No-code is just develop tools. It can be a CI step. So if you want to build a Docker image, you can use some CI tools such as Jenkins and so on.
Okay, so you don't really see that as being part of the use case of this. That's fine. Cool. Thank you.
I got a demo here. Let's. I just have 2 minutes.
Yeah, but I think we have 2 more topics on the agenda for today. Would you mind sharing it maybe as part of the meeting notes if it's a video?
Okay.
That would be great, yeah. So moving on to the last 2 agenda items. Thanks for the presentation. Okay, I think we have for today Potato Head status update on multi-services. I think, Thomas, you're going to provide the quick update there.
Yes, so
I actually put that on.
Or whoever put it there, yeah, sorry.
You could take it, Thomas, if you want.
Okay.
yes, and just start, Josh.
What's that?
Just start, Josh.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to let you all know we're just porting the stuff over, getting it to multi-service, make the docs a little more consistent, try to add some tests. So that's what's happening there. That's all.
So we also,
yeah, sorry.
So we also changed a lot in the whole CI pipeline of Captain. So we added some automatic tests after merge and so on, so that that we get it a bit more stable and replaced a lot of shell scripts against GitHub Action. That's all from my side.
Okay. Yeah, my question was just, should we reach out actively to the projects that contributed to the first version to maybe get an update? Because I think it would also be a nice idea to have them present on how things work. I mean, to be fair, most of them, I think, run with the manifests or the Helm charts with some exceptions. But I think especially like the Helm team might be an interesting one to reach out, how they would ideally structure Helm for this specific delivery situation. So we could
that's really good feedback.
Yeah.
We should talk with the project maintainers from each thing to finalize what's in there.
Okay. Yep. Thanks for the quick update. There's one more topic on the agenda, which is the Cooperative Delivery Working Group status update. Question mark. So hey, who has asked the question? Or
Me, actually, that's me again. I just saw that we bumped it up over there, and I wanted to know if that's moving forward and what we want to do there.
Yeah, I think it is moving forward. So it was obviously Alex wrote an email to the TOC mailing list, I think a while ago. I just sent another one requesting them to vote on it. So I hope they are, well, now going to vote on it rather soon. I think nothing really holds us back from working, but I pushed it again to the TOC mailing list today. And I hope that we get like the official buy-in rather sooner than later. I think this might have just gotten lost over the.
And do we have any initial, I guess we have a meeting for that separately, Thomas. Do we have any initial things that we're tackling there?
I think we should discuss this in the near future and set up a meeting for that after we have the votes.
Awesome.
We could mention that the working group, if nothing happens this week on voting, on the next TOC meeting as well, like part of the agenda.
Yes, we'll put on the TOC meeting. Alternatively, also reach out to our TOC liaisons that they maybe start the voting process there. But yeah, I think we are kind of like victims to the vacation season right now, where things just got lost a bit. But I assume this to be moving forward rather sooner than later.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, I think this.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is it for today, and also to the localhost team. Thanks for presenting, and if you need any help with the form for the sandbox submission, please simply let us know. we can point you in the right direction there as well. Okay, I think that we see each other in 2 weeks from now.
Thank you, Paula.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Forward.
Thank you.
Enjoy the
Bye.
summer. Bye.
Bye.